What do you guys want to talk about? No, seriously, I don't know, because not much happened on this episode, but we're going to lead with Roman Reigns shooting and going up against Paul Heyman in the main event segment. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, here on YouTube, and now available at petrol stations or gasoline stations, I think they call them in America, if you buy enough petrol.
Yes, it's like a little, you get a free hot dog and this podcast.
They stamp your receipt, and that stamp will have the podcast on. So enjoy that there. And also press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and leave your comments down below with what you thought of this episode of Raw.
Mm-hmm. It was, of all of the episodes of Raw that have aired since 1993, one of the episodes of Raw.
And send in your chat cables to wrestletalk.com/support, and we'll read out your chats there. Everyone over $5 or above. Everyone over $5 or above. Probably didn't need all those words.
Do you feel like we're on the road to SummerSlam?
Oh, yeah.
The third biggest pay-per-view of the year?
Yeah, because, I think this is great. They've set up all this stuff. We're going to have 4 weeks of TV. SummerSlam happens. It's at the end of August, right? That's when SummerSlam normally is.
Yeah.
I think this is a good first step.
Yeah. It does. I was talking to Laurie about this morning. And Laura was like, "Oh yeah, how was Raw?" And I was like, it was fine. Like, it's a good show. Like, I can't watch this episode and be like, "What a bad episode of television," because it's not. There's nothing actively bad on this show. There's some things I've got some question marks over, but nothing that is actively bad on this show. And he was like, "I just don't care about SummerSlam." I think Laurie, because he got super into WWE at the start of the year when it was on when it started on Netflix. For Laurie was almost like a litmus test in the office of I'm now getting back into wrestling because it's readily available to me on Netflix. And then just watching over the year, his interest just really decline in the week-to-week product.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to find things to talk about. So he's in a good position. Well, my joke there was that SummerSlam is in fact in
next weekend,
11 days time.
It's next weekend.
We've got one more show until then, and
one more episode of Raw. We've got 2 episodes of SmackDown. Yeah,
I guess you've always got SmackDown, and we don't have Roman Reigns' match yet confirmed. You can see where they're going. We said last week that it's either a Bron Breakker singles match or a Roman and Jay tagging against the Brons. Mm-hmm. I think this segment in the main event here quite clearly says it's going to be a tag match.
Yeah, I would say with Jay making the save at the end, and I thought last week they were going to do the tag. Because if it's Roman versus Bron in a singles, then what do you do with Jay other than do Jay and Reed in a singles?
Yeah, and also if it's Roman and Breaker, you can't pin Reed. Which makes it problematic.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this main event segment started off with Paul Heyman coming out with the Brons, and he said, before Roman comes out, I've got a lot of things I want to get off my chest, and being the mark that I am, I thought that meant we were going to get some form of Heyman promo.
A pipe bomb.
We didn't. That would have been interesting.
Well, I mean, okay, I would argue what we got here, I would say is interesting. That's a strong word.
Is it? It happened.
Yeah. It
wasn't boring.
No, it wasn't boring. But I think it's interesting this felt like 2015 Roman. This was not Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
Yes.
This was Big Dog Roman Reigns. The way that he was delivering his promo it was the Tribal Chief via the Big Dog. It was like a combination of the two. But I could hear some Big Dog Roman in his verbiage.
Yeah, particularly near the end with the "I can't hear you" line.
Even just you're a dumbass. Felt Big Dog Roman.
So what happened? That they've been building up this segment throughout the entire show, by the way, and showing clips of what happened when Roman was last here. So WrestleMania and the Raw after Mania, and forget that anything happened in the middle of all of that. And Roman comes out to a huge reaction.
Massive.
And Heyman starts cutting a promo on him. And he said, look, Seth Rollins is going to be out of action for a long time.
Wink.
So definitely coming back at SummerSlam. And that that means there's a leadership position vacant here. I never took that to mean as a serious offer.
No.
I think that was just Heyman playing mind games with Roman.
Yeah.
But I've seen some people think Paul was making a legitimate offer there.
I don't feel as much. I felt this was just him trying to manipulate and trick Roman Reigns into, or at least hoping that he could trick Roman Reigns into being able to manipulate him.
And he said, I love my tribal chief. He gave him the microphone in the way he used to with his head bowed. And he even acknowledged Roman with the hand point, which I thought that was all very good. And then Roman replied, you're not a wise man anymore. You're a dumbass.
Yeah. And then he said, hey, Braun. Well, I thought this was actually nice. Hey, Braun, he stabbed me in the back. And when you're the man around here, it's not like if, it's like, no. You are going to be the next top star. When you're the man around here, just be ready because he's going to stab you in the back because that's what he did to me and it's what he does to everyone.
And Breaker said, no, he's not going to stab me in the back because I'm really good and he'll always see worth in me.
But Roman, like the shoot part of this range, and I should say shoot very much in a kayfabe sense of the term.
In an unreal way.
It's actually going to be one of the next episodes of season 2 of
Just
Unreal.
A straight up segment from Raw.
It may as well be. I saw some people talk about that trailer be like, wow, what a peek behind the curtain. I'm like, it looks like every 24 documentary we got back in the network days.
We'll get on to our excitement for WWE Unreal shortly.
Not real. And he said, Paul Heyman tried to take credit for the tribal chief, but you didn't make the tribal chief. I made the tribal chief. You didn't help me keep that title. He definitely did.
Yeah, particularly that Kevin Owens match when they fumbled with the handcuffs and stuff.
100% Heyman interfered quite a lot to help him retain. But he's like, no, the Usos helped me retain that title. Solo helped me retain that title. Hell, even Sami helped me retain that title. The Bloodline wasn't just some wrestling faction. It's my family. It's God's work. And then what I did quite like about this, Braun every now and again would just be like, and he would try and step up. Anytime he insulted Paul Heyman directly, it was like, you need to stay back, man.
I think Braun's just unashamed love for Paul Heyman is going to be a real fun dynamic.
When he turns on him.
No, I think they won't do that for a year. But over the next year, that obsessive love can be quite fun.
Off screen. And he says that, Heyman was just a business partner for this family, for my family. But I wanted to make you actual. I made you a part of this family. And you threw that all away for what? A best friend? Which is an interesting line there because that shows that he, like we saw last week, he definitely just still has issues with CM Punk. Even though he is now babyface Roman Reigns and has got that little bit of big dog fire within his verbiage, it's still Roman Reigns, and he still does. It doesn't mean he just likes babyfaces now. Still doesn't like CM Punk.
It's a bit confusing, though, Roman's message, isn't it? He's talking about how Heyman didn't help the bloodline, but he was brought in as family, and then he betrayed the bloodline.
Yeah.
I didn't quite buy the context.
Exactly. You didn't ruin. I didn't ruin the bloodline. This dumbass did.
I feel like he wanted the crowd to chant dumbass.
Yeah. With this, it didn't quite catch on. But I thought it was fine. Like, as I said, I think you can pick out some bits in there that are like, oh, that's quite an interesting little nugget. But a lot of it's just sort of surface level. It's kind of like what we used to talk about with the Becky Lynch heel turn. Like, back in the early days, it was like, no, it does make sense. I was like, at a surface level, this all makes sense. It's only in the weeks since the heel turn that it's really amplified up, and now it's you can look back and be like, what a great heel run that Becky Lynch is having. But in the early days, it was like, yeah, I guess you can go in this direction. But now it's like, what a great choice this is. I think all of the interesting parts of this are just surface level interesting things.
Roman then did a bit on the mic where he said, I don't think your mic's working, Braun. Do you want to try mine? And chucked it to him, and that was the opening for the brawl to start. Hit a Superman punch on Breaker, which was cute, I guess, but the Tribal Chief would never have done that.
It's Big Dog. He's gonna go poison someone's drink and make them throw up on Vicky Guerrero.
Yes, I don't know if anyone's clamoring for Big Dog to come back. This is only a hint of Big Dog. It's like Big Dog infused Tribal Chief.
That's exactly it. Yeah. He's still Tribal Chief.
Yeah.
He's just got a little bit of that Big Dog bite to him.
Big Dog energy. But yeah, he was still an absolute star here, and
it was more over than anyone else on this show.
Like IYO SKY and Stephanie Vaquer.
Oh, until they started wrestling. Yeah.
But yeah, the bronze overwhelmed Roman. Jey Uso came out and made the save. So you got the reverse there because Roman had saved Jey kind of the previous week. And they hit a double spear to stand tall. I feel like they should have ended it with, "We want you at SummerSlam, both of you."
Yeah.
And then that could have been something. Because they didn't give us any match announcement, this wasn't the amazing bloodline drama segment of old.
No.
This wasn't the trial of Sami Zayn. And it wasn't even like a fraction of those incredible segments.
Yeah.
When that's sort of what Roman's big return, in-ring, main event of Raw, Heyman's there, Roman's there. I think it needed something like that.
Yeah, considering this is right, Heyman's big turn on Roman Reigns. Like that, granted it was months ago now, but this is the first time that Roman's been back for it. And this is the promo we got off the bat. 5 years of them together in the bloodline. And this is the big promo that he had against Paul. And what it was, you never helped me keep the title. Even though he very much did on quite a few occasions.
Yeah, rather than Heyman try and weasel out of it and say, "Oh, you could be the leader of this new group," I would have much preferred him to say, "Look, you put me in the middle.
Yeah.
You made me choose between Punk and Roman. You did not treat me well. You didn't treat a load of your family well when you were the top dog. What? So why am I the bad guy here?" He did cut that promo without Roman in the building in the weeks after Mania. But to say those things to Roman here, I think would have made it a lot more impactful and made it more in line with those really great soap opera segments of the Bloodline era.
And you can make the argument, well, there's always next week to do that. But this is the first promo segment. You've got, one chance to make a first impression. And I feel like if you're going to do that segment, you should do that in the one segment. Then do a big hot go home angle next week. Although I know we're not really in the era of big hot go home angles anymore. That's what I keep getting told anyway. It's like, why do you keep asking for go home shows? They don't do them anymore. So I think like next week is when you want to do the big hot go home angle to set up the tag match. Or maybe it's that they haven't decided whether it is a tag or singles yet.
I will say, just my last bit on this segment, this was WWE clearly positioning Bron Breakker as the star of the future.
Oh, yeah.
And the Wrestling Observer had the report on Friday that the company sees Rhea Ripley, Jacob Fatu, and Bron Breakker as the next big stars.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley is already there, but Bron and Jacob, they're going to be the Roman and Cody. Those are the bets they're placing. Bron has everything in the ring. On the mic, in a main event segment with Roman, little bit lacking. And I'm not saying he can't grow into that because Roman was certainly lacking at the start of his run as well. But yeah, I just think Bron Breakker needs to work on promos a bit more. Just didn't have that. He didn't have the intensity that his wrestling has.
Or the intensity he had like last week or 2 weeks ago whenever he cut that promo on Sami Zayn, where his voice was breaking, but how much he hates Sami Zayn. And like that's the Bron Breakker I want to see, which is just like, oh, it's like watching a Scott Steiner promo. that is what I want to see from Bron Breakker.
Well, shall we see what you all think on the chat, Gables? WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one at over $5. Black Yakuzu 94 writes, Roman Reigns is one of the biggest examples of a mega star I've seen. Now leaving and returning every few months certainly helps, but it's remarkable how loud people get in the arena over him. And hey, I actually like that segment too.
Yeah, I can't say that I disliked that segment because that would be an incredibly bad faith reaction to it. It was fine. Actually, I would say it's a good segment, and I liked it, but I wasn't like enamored with it.
You want a 5 out of 5 star segment.
Well,
because this is the build to SummerSlam.
That would be nice.
It's Roman's return.
And it is Roman's return, but like to Black Yukazu's point there, like it's nuts how much of a reaction he's had over the last couple of weeks. Like it is massive.
Even before he returned, the chants for OTC were very loud. Akihiko Sanada writes, I truly hope that they're holding off Bron and Roman because they don't want Roman to lose his first match back, so when they eventually do the one-on-one, Breakker can win, hopefully clean, or with minimal interference to establish him.
I think if he's winning, there's some interference to be had.
But yeah, I think do the tag match, Reed loses, Roman versus Bron, Hopefully Bron wins. Roach Senpai, of course it was God's work. God saved him from Demon Finn by collapsing the turnbuckle, which, by the way, was never followed up. Again, I am worried about the Bronze role and everything that's happening. To me, they're just there to fill the void and wait for Seth.
Yeah, I guess when they did come out, there was a real lack of Seth about them. You know, it felt like, oh, it's Paul Heyman and coming out with Curtis Axel and Ryback, rather than it's Paul Heyman coming out with CM Punk. Yeah,
the Evolution format factions don't work if you don't have the established star in them.
Yeah, but we'll be back next week, so...
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. By the way, in terms of not following up on angles isn't always the right thing to do. We'll get on to Austin Theory later. SP Rice. Right. Hey guys, hope you're well. WWE isn't doing much for me right now. Feels like an artist accomplishment and more so just an advertising opportunity. Feels less like an artistic accomplishment and more so just an advertising opportunity. So appreciate this podcast for allowing me to keep up to date. So I've got a non-wrestling question. God, I'm butchering a lot of this. Ollie, not long ago on the WrestleTalk news, you mentioned you were reading The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. What did you think overall? Did you finish it? It's my favourite book by my favourite author, but I also understand why it's absolutely not for everyone. I've not finished it yet. I think I'm in volume 6. I'm in like the final third of the whole run. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Good.
And finally for now, Space Viking. Ollie, I'm reading comics again. Have you read the Absolute Comics? What's your thoughts on it? If you have a channel for this, let me know. Love how alien Superman is on Wonder Woman and Batman now. P.S. Trick is more than a catchphrase now until he graduates. Lol. I love the Absolute Comics. I think the Absolute Batman run by Scott Snyder is terrific. I recommended it on this very show.
You certainly did.
Because he was such a chunky Batman.
You very much wanted to put over how chunky that Batman was. It was like when Blair first saw the design for Godzilla in -1, and just like, look how chunky his legs are.
Right, keep getting in your chats to wrestletalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one. Before the end of the show, this episode of Raw began with Sami Zayn wearing an Oasis football shirt.
Yeah, did he go to a gig or someone sent one to him?
He must just be a trendy Oasis fan.
Yeah.
Which is probably quite a cool hipster thing to be in America, but over here, it's the most basic you can be right now.
You say that though, man, but like, I've been looking at the set lists for what they've done on their comeback tour.
It's bangers.
And it's wall-to-wall bangers. And when they first announced they were coming back, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to sit in a queue for 6 hours and then pay $2,000 for a ticket. I've not got that sort of money and all that sort of time, so I'm all right, Tar. But since they've actually started doing the tour, I have had that like,
yeah.
Do you know what? If I could have got hold of a ticket for a decent amount of money, I bet you it would have been a pretty good night.
It feels like a proper generational happening. That's their reunion tour.
Yeah.
We're probably, just so people stop asking us, yes, we have seen the Coldplay affair.
Well, I think the most amazing thing about that is that the woman didn't even know she was having an affair. Like, there were no red flags. They were all yellow.
If you do something like that again, we're going to have trouble.
Hey!
Then the Judgment Day arrive in their car, and they're getting out the car. They're going to make their way to the ring. Dominic Mysterio hands over the keys to a valet, and there is AJ Styles.
Yes, Gene Parmesan. Ow, Gene!
TNA legend AJ Styles, the day after Slammiversary, putting over the future Leon Slater. Here he is, dressed in a little butler-style outfit.
Yeah. It won't be the last time either that he does a little Gene Parmesan throughout this episode.
CM Punk came out then next, and he did its clobbering time. And I thought, hey. Fantastic Four is out this week.
Yeah.
And I spent the rest of this segment, because I could just listen to it in the background because nothing happened, working out when he debuted its clobbering time, 09, and whether any of the other Fantastic Four movies coincided with him doing that as an active wrestler. They don't. This is the first time this has happened.
Yeah, because all the other ones would have been pre him doing the taunt, and then he was away when Josh Trank's Masterpiece released the Trank cut.
Yeah.
Came out in cinemas.
Where are my Tranks at? My Trank skanks.
My Trank skanks. What a film, though.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that 2015 Fantastic Four movie.
It's the first production disaster I think we both lived through in real time.
Oh, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. His dog destroyed a house.
But that's really getting over how nothing this segment was. Punk came out. He said he's the best in the world. Gunther came out. They yelled, "You tapped out" at him. They gave him a decent bit of heel heat. Then Gunther says they're similar. They're just here for money and championships. They both have big egos, but Punk's ego is based on what the fans chant, but Gunther's ego is from him knowing he's the world champion. He's the best in the world. He's going to maul him at SummerSlam. That's it.
I feel like I have lost a little bit of spark for CM Punk. I'm kind of...
Humiliation rituals will do that to people.
I don't think it's pre-humiliation ritual, I suppose. So when he came back, someone said to me they didn't watch his return out for Rampage. When I mean his return, I mean like his return to wrestling after
the good one.
When he came back to AEW, right before he came back to WWE, and even after the WWE thing. But when he came back to AEW, someone who didn't watch it was like, "What was it like?" And I was like, "It was so awesome." He cut this incredible promo, and the person said to me, "Is he a heel?" And I said, "No, he's come back as a babyface." And they're like, call me when he's a heel. I've got zero interest in babyface Punk. And my argument to that was, yeah, we've only just got him back. So we should have him as a babyface now because we're going to cheer him anyway. So I think like we need to have him have the babyface run. And there was going to be a period of time in AEW when the heel turn was the right time to do it. So I think they were actually bordering on the right time to do it before he put Tony Khan's life in danger and he had to go. So when he came back to WWE, again, I'm like, he should have the babyface run because people are going to cheer him. And he was, he had his little catchphrase of like, how is it? It's so good to feel alive in, Bumble F, wherever we are. I feel like now the time has come where babyface Punk has hit a wall and there is nothing of interest left for him to do because he's only feuded with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins since he's come back with a 2-week stopover at Cenaville. I think now is the time for a bit more edge to this quite, I'm going to use the word, bland CM Punk.
Yeah, definitely since WrestleMania. I can't really tell you what he's done. I think he's come out to save some people. Obviously, he had the terrible Money in the Bank storyline. What was it called? Night of Champions storyline. I was
going to say, what did he do at Money in the Bank?
What did he do at Money in the Bank?
He didn't qualify. Did he lose a qualifier? Did he have a match at Money in the Bank? Was he at that
I just
show?
know there was a tag match in the main event. He was on the Saturday night's main event.
Against Rollins? No, he was in the tag. It was him and Sami versus Rollins and Bron Breakker. Because he's only had matches with Seth Rollins in 2025, I think.
And that is a bit of a problem as well. Like, Drew McIntyre was excellent in their 2024 feud. But WWE would keep like, yeah, but Seth's the direction. Like, I think we've moved on. I think you had a good idea when he came into the company to have that feud with Seth. And then the Drew thing caught a light. But who's got all of the accolades and the faction and the briefcase now? It's Seth. And what's Drew doing? He's tagging with Logan Paul against Jelly Roll.
Getting ready to be pinned by Jelly Roll.
So yeah, I agree with you, even separate from the humiliation ritual, which I think has damaged his appeal more than you think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is just this is a cold feud.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be. It's Punk and Gunther
at SummerSlam for the world heavyweight
title. Maybe it's the world title is part of the problem because it's not. It doesn't feel like it's. He wanted to come back and win a world title, but what he really meant was he wanted to come back and win the WWE Championship, not this secondary belt.
And night 2 of WrestleMania.
So I don't know. Like someone in the live chat here is like happy to be here, Punk. has worn thin. And I think it was when he just sort of came out to be like, it sure is good to be here in Houston. I'm like, oh man, like, all right, I get it. You're happy to see fans. I'm here for you fans. Like, oh, he needs more bite to him. And then Seth feud, he can't have more bite because they've said everything. They've been feuding for 2 years now.
They have 20-minute promos every week. But I think it takes two to tango. Gunther is also a bit off the rails. We thought this second title run would be booked better, more in line with his Intercontinental title reign. But he had the Goldberg feud. That certainly wasn't booked to the full extent of what it could have been. And here he is going straight into the Punk thing. So Gunther, for me, is also a cold world champion.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see what they do next week, but Seth will cash in and it won't matter, will it? Stephanie
That's right, we can get
Vaquer's
another Punk's Rollins match. Great.
Stephanie Vaquer's backstage being interviewed by Byron Saxton this week.
Yeah, Kathy Kelly not available.
Naomi interrupts and said she'll see her in Paris. Oui, oui. Rusev and Sheamus then wrestled another hard-hitting match to not much crowd reaction.
That is what I would say. Wrestling not getting much of a reaction is the story of this show and this crowd. This crowd were here for entrances, but were not really there for once the bell rings. And then at some point we'll just chant, "This is awesome," because it felt like they haven't done anything for a while.
Two people are down in the ring. I guess I chant, "This is awesome" now.
Apparently Kathy's been moved to SmackDown. Or is it just
I didn't know there was a draft in that way.
Yeah, I think Chelsea Green's been drafted to Raw. She's on there every bloody week at this point.
Well, Austin Theory's injured, so there's a lot of free agents now. Yeah, Rusev and Sheamus, this was fine. It was decent. You know, it was very well worked, hard hitting. But I thought this would have been a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Like, commentary seemed to push that it is, because they're like, man, this is, what's it Booker T says? Like, no bread, no milk, it's just meat. And like, Corey Graves is like, this is what it is. It's like a big, meaty match. It's hard hitting. And I'm like, yeah, it is. But it's not like, I've seen Sheamus have harder hitting matches than this with people smaller than Rusev.
Yeah, with like Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
And obviously Drew. But
And
yeah,
Gunther.
and Gunther. Like, they do have chemistry, but it's nowhere near the level that I think we all thought it would be. And Rusev is flailing a bit in his WWE return. Like, I don't think he's really set the world on fire. I was hoping we'd get a reset of the Redeemer Miro from AEW in that great run, but we're actually getting the tail end of Miro's run.
Yeah. But it's going to lead to them becoming a tag team, and I'm sure that will be really, really good. I quite enjoyed when Rusev had him in the Accolade and Sheamus made it to the ropes, which they did a really good thing of, like, he managed to get one hand, Rusev pulled that back, so then he teased getting the other hand there. I thought that was nice. And then Rusev just kicked him and said, "Tap out, you stubborn mule." And obviously, Sheamus climbing out to the top rope, losing his footing, and falling down, and then going to the crowd, "Sorry, I'll do it again."
Yeah.
And he climbed up and he jumped down and then made a really big, very affable way of being like, messed that up, didn't I? But I recovered. Yeah. Hey!
Also, Rusev caught a bro kick into a powerbomb, which was great.
Yeah.
So there was good stuff in this match. It just didn't connect with the audience, which meant us viewers at home also, I would say, struggled to get into it. Finish was a bit weird. Turnbuckles exposed, which was how Rusev won the first match, but Sheamus hit Rusev's head into the exposed turnbuckle. Rusev no-sold it. The referee sold it more, checking on the turnbuckle pad. Rusev went to get the shillelagh, bro kick from Sheamus, 1, 2, 3. So they're now one win apiece.
And I thought it was going to lead to a visual pin situation as well, because the referee took ages to turn around for it. And like Rusev got his shoulder up at the 3, which I guess probably will be the justification for a third match.
Well, they're drawn, so you need a rubber match.
Yeah, but Rusev's got even more of like, you didn't even really beat me that second time.
El Grande Americano is backstage. He's speaking Spanish to Byron, and Dragon Lee got in his face and say, "You're fake." And they scuffled.
Oh, are you telling me that El Grande Americano had a promo segment and a luchador came up and said, "You're not a real luchador"? This story is still in its first chapter. We have not moved anywhere with this.
No, there's a different guy under the mask now.
I am so done. I'm over this, man.
Yeah, I'm a bit done with it too. I thought they had a good opportunity to make this fun again, but they've just done the same thing.
And they've just not.
Because Triple H, I don't really think has much of an appetite for comedy on his wrestling shows. Nor does he have an appetite for actually exposing the business. Because then we had a clip of WWE Unreal, the Netflix documentary series that's going to pull back the curtain on the wrestling industry, show us how the creative decisions are made backstage. It comes out on the 29th of July. And the clip they used to promote it was clearly a fake angle of Triple H sending IYO SKY out for the Royal Rumble when Akira Tozawa got injured.
Now, maybe the live chat can correct me here. I could have done my own research and gone back and watched it. But isn't this what they just showed at the Rumble anyway?
Yes, I think, but just from different camera angles.
Yeah, because my memory of that bit in the Rumble is you go, like, Akira Tozawa gets taken backstage. Triple H goes, "Oh no, we need someone to take his spot. IYO SKY, it's you." And IYO SKY goes, "What, me?" And then he's like, "Yeah, you're in the Rumble." And then he goes out. That's how I remember it happening in the Rumble. But that's just what we saw here.
Yeah, and Triple H's acting is perfect for the goofy Royal Rumble pro wrestling angle. It is really exposed through the aesthetics of a documentary where they're trying to say, oh, this is going to be a real behind-the-scenes peek. No, I can clearly see that is someone acting. That is worse acting than Towie.
Yeah. So when the trailer came out last week, I'm not going to say underwhelmed by it because I think it's going to be a fun show to watch. But I don't think it's going to be this exposing of the business show that people fear that it was. People were really worried it was going to expose too much of the business. And I just don't think it is. This looks like the 24/7 documentaries you used to get on the network. Or actually, before the network, you used to get on DVD. Like, they had one about like the history of the Royal Rumble that like went behind the scenes of the 2016 Rumble. I've seen all of these sorts of shots before, so I don't think it's going to be as groundbreaking as some people think it might be. And also, it's a WWE produced thing, so it's going to be as staged as it possibly can be. It's a reality TV show.
It's not made for us, I think. I think it's made for casuals on Netflix who will maybe watch this, and that is a funnel to get them to watch the actual wrestling TV shows.
Like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader thing is a way to get people to watch American football?
Which kind of has happened, apparently, with a more female audience.
Perfect.
But yeah, unfortunately, I felt WWE had an opportunity to really take wrestling and storytelling in a worked shoot direction. With using the aesthetics and the formats of the stuff like the Drive to Survive with F1 or the golf version of the show. Which, yeah, I'm fine if it's worked, but you've got to make it believable and have like actually more work. Mm-hmm. And then you just, the work parts are like the seasoning that you put on real life, and that ties in with the wrestling.
Yeah.
And the idea is then you start to watch the wrestling shows and go, man, I don't know, like maybe these two really do hate each other. And it brings a whole new layer to enjoying wrestling. The Magic community sort of went in a similar direction where, you know, all the magic tricks were exposed. So magicians that found success were people who claimed to be doing it real. Mm. David Blaine doing those things. I suspect most of it is also a trick.
Yeah,
I don't
Darren Brown.
They're not actually doing those things. I think they are mostly works. That's what you could have done with wrestling, with the Unreal thing. But that's not what it's going to be. Let's lower our expectations. It's going to be quite infuriating. And it's going to have that WWE sheen where they just, they're controlling the narrative here.
Yeah, the trick with reality TV is to make it feel like it is real life. Like Towie or Chelsea and all these sorts of shows here in the UK, or I suppose in America, it's like the Real Housewives and things like that, they're not real life. They are all completely staged. They have a director that says action, or something will happen in real life, and then they'll have them reenact it, and they'll do a dramatized version of something that might have actually just happened. But the whole point is that whatever is on screen is not real. But the idea of it is to make it look as real as possible. Mm. And I don't know if WWE have got the ability to make this look as real as possible, because it's wrestling, and wrestling is an art form in where you're supposed to make it look like I believe it's real, but I don't think that's really existed for the last 10 or so years.
But I also think they're going to get in their own way, because they can never just be honest.
That's probably a better way to look at it.
Lyra is shouting at Bayley backstage because Bayley, weirdly, has got them a tag title match.
This is actually my favorite thing on the show.
Yeah, I liked it too.
I loved this.
Because it just gets you asking, what game is Bayley playing?
I know. She's there being like, because Lyra walks in and be like, what are you playing at? Like, why have you got... She's like, oh yeah, well, we didn't get to have that tag match at WrestleMania for the tag title, so I've got us one now. And I was like, we literally had a match last week. I've already got a SummerSlam match. And Bayley goes, yeah, that's water under the bridge now. Yeah, we can do this thing. We can do this thing together.
Everything is definitely fine.
She's gone off the deep end. And I absolutely love it. And I think that is what's going to drive her into the arms of Becky at SummerSlam. And it ties into the promo that Lyra cut on her a couple of weeks back leading into the triple threat, which is like, you're the same as her. You pretend like you're not the same as Becky, but you are driven by all the same things that Becky is.
We got a tag title number one contenders match next between American Made, New Day, and LWO. There was a lot of seconds interference. Ivy Nile pushed, I think it was Whack and Wild off the top rope. Dragon Lee gets involved because it was Whack and Wild and Cruz del Toro representing LWO. And then Ludwig Kaiser as Grande Americano tried to take out Dragon Lee, and American Made were like, what, dude, you're not Chad Gable. And that let LWO get the roll-up win on the New Day. And when that happened, I just went, oh, okay, right, so this means nothing.
Tell you what made me laugh is as they were walking away, Michael Cole says, they will get a tag title shot at some point.
Not at SummerSlam.
Not at SummerSlam. Oh, no, we're not putting the tag title match at SummerSlam. It's like, oh, hey, at some point.
IYO SKY and Kabuki Warriors are in the locker room. And,
so, I'm just gonna stop you there, actually, because this was one of those ones where I'm like, huh? Because they showed a clip of Judgment Day beating the Kabuki Warriors last week, and then it cuts backstage and IYO SKY says, the Kabuki Warriors going to win the tag titles. You just showed a clip of them being beaten by the tag champions. You can't just cut back to them and be like, whoa, you really showed it to them last week. You're going to be the tag champion soon. I literally just watched them lose.
But the Kabuki Warriors walk off, and then Stephanie Vaquer walks in and said, we might face each other at Paris because Io might beat Naomi in the three-way at SummerSlam. But we never got, I think she said, but we never got to have our first match, have a finish, which they had in April on Raw. So let's do it again tonight.
Loved it.
And the crowd went ballistic.
Ballistic for this.
You very rarely these days get such loud crowd reactions to a backstage segment
that's just announcing a match out of the blue.
So it was really positive to see.
Yeah,
I'm very happy for them and how both have gotten over.
I'm sure they'll also show up for the match itself.
The crowd.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Dom bumped into AJ backstage, who was now dressed as a janitor. And then the New Day started getting angry about losing their tag match. And Grayson Waller walks over and says that A-Town Down Under is officially over now because Austin Theory's injured. So he's a free agent. And implied that he's going to join the New Day. And the New Day were like, huh?
Wasn't the New Day reaction to that really weird, considering they've been hanging out with him for the last month in backstage segments? This is like, New Day acted like this was the first time they've ever interacted with him.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. This is the end of, someone worked it out, a 513-day build for the Austin Theory Grayson Waller breakup. I don't know. I do not know what they're doing with the New Day and this.
Yeah, fine.
Becky Lynch is out there. Happy Gilmore 2's coming out this weekend, but MJF's also in it, so don't watch those parts.
No.
And then she admitted to holding everyone down, but at least she's honest about it. Lyra comes down and Becky lays out the challenge that if Lyra loses, she can't challenge for the IC title ever again. By which I think she meant while Becky's champion.
Yeah.
And this is just like Becky's stipulation that they had at, what was it? It wasn't Backlash. Was it Money in the Bank?
Yeah. Let's say Money in the Bank.
Lyra then said in return she wants no countouts, no DQ, and Becky went, okay, fine. But I think the way she delivered that was that's okay because she thinks Bayley is going to cost Lyra for her.
Okay.
I think the fix is already in.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah, Lyra's signed. But Lyra not being able to go for the IC title again while Becky is champion?
It's all right.
Yeah.
Becky asked Lyra to shake her hand, but Lyra took her out instead. And this turned into Bayley and Lyra versus the Judgment Day.
Yeah, and this crowd chanted for Dominic Mysterio. Commentators were noting that Bayley's spiraling. That is the story that's happening on screen. And I really enjoyed Bayley's work in this, where Lyra, when she was on the ring apron, did have a face of why am I doing this? Why am I here? But then when she gets in the ring, she's like, well, I am a wrestler and it would be nice to win another title. So I will do this. And actually, I thought Becky was funny when she said, oh, have you seen Lyra out here looking to win 2 titles? Who really needs to have 2 titles around here? And I mean, but when I did it, it was fine. And so when she gets in the ring, and she does wrestle because that's who she is. But then Bayley would tag in. They were sort of weren't really on the same page. Didn't really know what they were doing. Because Lyra didn't understand what Bayley's motivations were. But Bayley was like, but we're friends. We're a tag team. I thought they actually worked the story of this match, which was very, very good. And they worked it to the point where I thought they might actually win the tag titles. Because they had Dominic Mysterio get involved, but then he got taken out and he got by Raquel Rodriguez. So then Medical appeared, and one of the Medicals was AJ Styles. So they chased Dom through the ring. And Bayley hit a Bayley to belly, but in the process of that, the other one, Raquel, blind tagged herself and hit the Tahani bomb. And I thought I really enjoyed the match as it was.
Yeah, Bayley and Lyra worked seamlessly as a tag team, doing all the tag team moves. And did you say Becky beat up Lyra? She was hidden underneath the ring as well.
So she stopped Bayley being able to get a hot tag that she actually did need.
There was a lot of narrative strains to this match.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts to it.
Becky doing the interference, Bayley not really being in the tag match, although she is. The crowd booed her for a hot tag. Yeah. So they know something's up. It does feel like Bayley is heading towards a heel turn. But yeah, you've got AJ as the medic. Dom isn't medically cleared, blah, blah, blah. So a lot that was going on, maybe too much. Jackie interviews Sami backstage. He said he's not medically fine yet, and I quite enjoyed his justification. Because whereas Dom's trying to duck everyone, Sami's like, if I was here last week, I could have been in that gauntlet. I could be fighting for the World Championship at SummerSlam. I'm not going to let Karrion Kross take those kinds of opportunities away from me. And that's why he's back here. But his sort of babyface desire got the better of him because he wasn't ready and Kross beat him.
So yeah, we then got a recap of Seth's new faction forming on the night after WrestleMania, and then we had sort of our last section with Dom before we get the reveal, which is him chatting with Finn and JD, again trying to get out of this doctor's meeting that he's got to have about getting cleared. And Pierce walks up and says, well, that's it. You've got an ultimatum now. Either go see the medical team to see if you can get cleared, or I'm going to strip you of the Intercontinental Championship. And Dom's like, I don't want to do this. And he storms off and he goes to get the medical meeting, and Finn asks him to get lollipops.
And just to do the reveal, the doctor then evaluates Dom after the Zayn Kross match. He comes out and he says, oh, well, it's going to take a while to interpret these results. And Dom then jumps AJ from behind and goes, psych! I can fight you at SummerSlam. Which made me think, was the doctor in on it?
I don't think this worked at all. Because Dom's whole deal has been he's a chicken S-word who doesn't want to defend the title. But then all of a sudden he's like, boom, yeah, no, it's fine. I do want to defend the title. I'll see you at SummerSlam. So, all right.
Yeah, shouldn't you have laid a better trap where you then really injure AJ? So AJ is, ironically, the one going in injured for the match.
Or it's the big reveal of you're fine and you will wrestle, and he's like, no, I don't want to wrestle. That's what you've been building to. But the swerve at the end was, no, he's fine and he does want to fight.
Yeah,
that's a rubbish reveal.
I think they should have gone in a different direction here, where each week Dom has a different cast on his body. And you're like, why is your leg in a cast? You said that was something to do with your arm.
Yeah,
but weirdly, AJ went different costumes this week. that wasn't part of his character before. It was just he'd be in the background looking at him.
Well, that's the next stage of wackiness, you know. And Luke, they are promoting the Naked Gun. So maybe it's to...
It's going to be a naked gun match.
It's a Naked Gun match.
Oh, God.
Look, I think the reveal itself was really bad. Mm-hmm. And it all of a sudden makes the storyline not as fun or make as much sense. And again, I wonder if it ties into what you said earlier, of like the Triple H doesn't like to do comedy on his show. Maybe he just doesn't want to have a chicken S-word heel on his show either.
A certain kind of comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, in between that, we got the Sami versus Karrion match. Scarlett interfered in full view of the ref, and Kross used a steel pipe behind the referee's back to win. So they're now 1-1. So we'll probably get a rubber match at SummerSlam.
Nice to see Kross get a win.
And then we got the match of the night.
Yep.
Which was the last segment we'll talk about, because then it went into the Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns stuff. IYO SKY versus Stephanie Vaquer. They went really slow early with the sort of nice chain wrestling, some submissions.
With some wrestling.
And then, then it just steadily built. If this had a proper finish, by which I mean the 5 minutes that were robbed from us because there was a lame DQ, this could have been a great pay-per-view caliber match.
They're kind of making you want to see the finish now, right? Because like they had this awesome match that this crowd gave 0 Fs about until Stephanie Vaquer did the Devil's Kiss, so they can do the chant along with it. And after that, I think they kind of got a little bit more into it, and by that I mean they chanted "This is awesome" twice. But then the Secret Service ran down to distract, and Chelsea Green jumped in the ring, of course, the DQ. And that's now twice they've had a match. Twice it has gone to a DQ. So you'll now want to see them have the match. You want to now see IYO win at SummerSlam, so you can finally get the one-on-one encounter that will have a finish at Clash in Paris. So I totally get why you do this finish, but it is only because you do DQ finishes every week on the show. It just feels like it's less of, we've done this for storyline reasons. It's more like, well, we have to do a DQ this week, otherwise we won't be able to complete a bingo card.
And why did Chelsea Green choose that moment to get involved?
Yeah.
It doesn't really hold up. But Naomi also jumped IYO SKY in the post-match, and this brought out Rhea Ripley,
an actual star,
who got a huge pop.
It did feel like the way this was presented that you got to wait for the actual star to come down, because the baby faces stand tall because they are above the Secret Service, but then Chelsea Green, the numbers advantage, so Rhea Ripley comes out to make the save, and she did feel like a cut above every single person in this segment, and that's including IYO and Stephanie, who got a big pop for announcing a match earlier in the show, but Rhea Ripley was just on a completely other level.
Which I still think is great for WWE. They've got this huge megastar, and you've also got IYO and Vaquer, who are ready to step up within 6 months, I think. Overall, I gave this 71%. It's a 3.5 out of 5 show.
Yeah, 3.5 feels generous, but yes, fine.
Yeah, it was a fine show. But you have your votes in the poll that should have just gone up on the live chat, while we say a big thank you to our wonderful Pledgehammers on Patreon. Hear Me Roar, Saratu Lion.
Where am
the
I?
Torrential
I've got to
Tribute,
Spencer Voorhagen.
The Pharaoh, Stephen Mazzaferro.
The Incredible Tarso.
Keep rolling, Rick Peck.
Commentator of the Century, Vince Phillip.
Willie Big E Singleton.
The Iron Zeke.
John's better, beefier brother, James Morrison.
Hannah A. Baby.
And the mods, Andy.
Ian.
James.
John KV.
Owen.
And because you'll never put a name in this document, Mod Mother Jenna. Give everyone a wonderful round of applause in the live chat.
Yeah, let's get some cheap pops going in the chat for the mods. And also go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, because there's a bumper weekend for you folks.
Whoa.
We have the next episodes of the rise and fall of NXT. Yep. NXT Nexus, I mean.
Yeah, we've got Hell in a Cell 2010 and Bragging Rights 2010. And also, me, John Cena.
And then also, we've got Brainbusters coming for you on Sunday with a Patreon bonus episode for that as well. So patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Right, last call for our chats. We have Kevin. I like the Bayley, Lyra, Becky stuff. The main event promo was good, and AJ was fun in his role. But this show had some booking flaws I was annoyed with, especially them booking IYO and Vaquer, knowing Exactly neither will lose. Hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah, it was almost to be expected, really. I was annoyed at myself for expecting a finish.
Homer Star. I feel like turning Bayley heel would be a mistake. The crowd love Bayley, and they want to be behind her, so I fear turning her will cause the crowd to turn on Lyra. Also, Ollie, saw Superman yesterday, and I can now say I'm a Superman fan.
I mean, to get to your point, Homer Star, the crowd were booing Bayley on this show. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they are doing a good job in getting the crowd to go against Bayley because of her actions, which will in turn get people more behind Lyra.
Which might make Becky and Bayley a bit of a cool act, though.
It's always the worry.
Will Campbell writes, Bron needs a slight bit of work, but I would say the main event was pretty good, all things considered. Also nice to see Kross win, even with shenanigans, and I thought the many hats of AJ was a great bit of business. Also, I went to Slammiversary, and it was great.
Man, you got to see that top dollar dive in person. Yeah, I've not caught up fully with Slammiversary yet, but what I have seen, I've very much enjoyed. Like, what a show.
AJ Styles' original TNA entrance theme. That brought me nostalgia vibes.
Do you see when he did the interview with Chris Van Vliet, where he was like, I hate that song.
Really?
And Chris was like, are you mad? Like, it's an incredible song. And AJ's like, yeah, but imagine hearing it every week, twice a day.
Yeah, because it was so good. It was also the theme to Impact.
and AJ would often win to get to hear it again. Was it the theme for Impact?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, definitely for a couple of years it was.
I'm not sure of that, because they had Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush, come on.
I could have sworn it was also...
And then it was just
like 09, 08.
Oh, maybe. And then it had that sort of weird guitar music. Dale Oliver style. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed when the commentary put over Slammiversary. They said, a great night for TNA. AJ Styles, Trick Williams, and JC Jane were all on the show.
It's a great mutually beneficial partnership. They're going to get a great A&E deal out of it.
Yeah. But why didn't you say that about AEW?
Kevin writes, A-Town Down Under have been together for approximately 2 years, spent a year and a half of those 2 years infighting, and this is how they announced that they are done, and it looks like they're giving Waller the Odyssey Jones spot. Round of applause for Triple H.
Mikey CB said, hey guys, always loved the show. Just wanted to ask your thoughts for Slammiversary. It felt a little frustrating that NXT wrestlers now hold 2 top belts in the company. I know they're building to Bound for Glory, but it doesn't sit right with me. Well, that's it, isn't it? It's like, I didn't quite understand the reaction to the show yesterday. We were like, oh, it's burying TNA. And I'm like, no, it's so they can win at Bound for Glory. Like, I get you should have had Mike Santana win because he was in his hometown and it was probably the right time to put the belt on him. But they literally ended off that show with, both of our top titles are held by NXT and we're on the road to Bound for Glory. They're going to win them back at Bound for Glory. Like, this is the heat, brother. This is your Empire Strikes Back.
You know, it's TNA you're talking about here. You know, what's his name? Who's the guy who won LFG or whatever? Jasper
Troy?
Yeah, Jasper Troy's going to beat Trick Williams for the TNA World Title at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, they'll win Mike Santana will win the world title back, or win the world title back for TNA at Bound for Glory, and I don't know, maybe Masha will win the Knockouts title back for TNA at Bound for Glory. And like but
then they'll lose it 3 weeks later to NXT stars.
I think they'll start a different arc against the sort of the invading NXT mob. But yeah, I didn't quite understand the fury at this when, like, I get that it doesn't feel like it's a good move, but it's clearly done to build to another pay-per-view. Real Double J here said, finally saw Superman, and while there are 100 things I want to discuss from the comics, such as inspiration from Earth 1 and New Krypton storylines for the plot twist, or moving away from Burns birthing Matrix to make Supes a naturalized American, F.U. Dean Cain, I'm surprised you didn't talk about the other difference between this and Snyder's Man of Steel. The S word. No, not the name, but the cuss word. Not to sound too much like a Snyder Bro Evening Standard reviewer, but they dropped 10 S-bombs. Shockingly, Man of Steel has 0, but 100% more neck snapping. Not a criticism. I always like to think that Supes is a representation of the best we hope for in society, so I find it fascinating how casual swearing has become if we have Clark dropping super S-bombs. I adored the film as a whole. P.S. If you haven't come up with a name for the joint cutscene WrestleTalk patrons, may I posit to you the Jam Cutters. I've even started working on a song for the Society of Gatherings. Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. Yeah, I was going to bring this up on another show, but probably not this one. when people keep saying it's a lovely family movie, I'm like, yeah, but it's with a lot of swearing in it.
I don't remember Clark swearing though.
Yeah, there's a lot of Superman and Clark both drop S-bombs.
When?
In the film.
I feel like he goes
Because
out
you've
of
seen
his
it twice
way.
now.
Yeah, I feel like he goes out of his way to say "darn it."
I'm pretty sure he drops an S-bomb, but both of them do. But
I've genuinely seen it twice now.
Yeah.
Usually I'm quite sensitive to swears.
I was also surprised at the amount of S-bombs that were in the movie, considering that they are picturing this as it's a family-friendly movie.
Kids are going to learn.
They're probably here around the house, eh? And Homestar here said, also one last thing, they absolutely have to do a segment at SummerSlam where Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin tries to find The Undertaker. I hope so.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Go full on 2016 celebrity guest spot on Raw goofiness for the Naked Gun stuff.
I really hope so. Also, for a second, I did actually read that as Leslie Nielsen. And I was about to be he's dead, right?
Well, thank you very much for joining us here today for this Raw review. Let's see what you all thought of the show collectively.
So I can now reveal the poll is done, and it is 53% in the middle, 38 thumbs up.
So still leaning positive, but also a bit in the middle. Thank you very much. Please go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get loads of exclusive content right now, including Luke and I talking ad nauseum about Bash at the Beach 2000 as a special bonus to this WrestleTalk podcast. But we'll be back on Friday with the WrestleTalk podcast again. So from now, I've been Ollie Davis. It's been Luke and DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam.